Hello CloudPedagogians, good to see you back in my channel. In this lab, you'll learn how to mount an Amazon Elastic file system to an Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, which is EC2. Before that, let's have a brief introduction on EFS. Amazon Elastic File System, which is Amazon EFS, provides serverless, fully elastic file storage so that you can share file data without provisioning or managing storage capacity and performance. Amazon EFS is built to scale on demand to petabytes without disrupting applications, growing and shrinking automatically as you add and remove files. Because Amazon EFS has a simple web services interface, you can create and configure file systems quickly and easily. The service manages all the file storage infrastructure for you, meaning that you can avoid the complexity of deploying, patching and maintaining complex file system configurations. In this lab, you create a new file system, then mount it to a new EC2 instance at the launch using the wizard and verify the file system is mounted on the EC2 or not. And then we'll delete and clean up the resources. So what are we waiting for? Get going with our task. In task, we first create the security groups. In task 2, we are going to create the Elastic file system. In task 3, we are going to launch an EC2 instance and mount the file system. Finally, in the task 4, we verify the EFS file system is mounted or not. In task 5, we clean up all the resources that are created in this lab. So let's start with the task 1. Create security groups that are required. In this task, you create 2 security groups. One that is attached to Amazon EC2 instance and one that is attached to the Amazon EFS file system. So open Amazon EC2 dashboard and choose the region drop-down and select the AWS region where you want to create the Amazon EFS file system and launch your Amazon EC2 instance. This lab uses North Virginia region, so I'm just leaving as default. In the left navigation pane, choose security groups under network and security groups. There will be a default security group listed here, but we are going to create 2 additional security groups in the default VPC. Click Create Security Group. This security group will be attached to the EC2 instance and it allows only SSH connection inbound to the EC2 instance and any outbound connectivity. Enter a name and description. Click Add Rule to allow only SSH connection. Check in the outbound rules and verify that the type is all traffic. Click on Create Security Group. Now we are going to add another security group. Click Create Security Group. This security group will be attached to the EFS file system and allows only TCP connection on port 2409 from the EC2 instance and any outbound connectivity. Alternatively, modify your existing security groups to ensure that only your EC2 instance can connect to your Amazon EFS file system on the NFS port. So, enter a name and description. On the Click Add rule in the inbound section, select the type NFS. In the source, select CP EC2 SG. Verify that the source is security group, which is EC2 SG. Down in the outbound rules, verify that the type is all traffic. Good job! You have successfully created the security groups for both EC2 and EFS systems. In the next task, we are going to create the EFS file system. In this task, you use Amazon Elastic file system to create file system. So navigate to Amazon EFS in the AWS console management and choose Create File System. Enter a name for the file system. For VPC, choose your default VPC. Click Create. On the file system page, note the file system ID of your new file system. In the mount target section, the initial state is creating with changes to available when ready. Select your newly created EFS. In the Network tab, check for all the availability zones in this region. Make sure all mount targets use the default subnets and automatic IP addresses. Once the status is available, click on Manage button. In the Security Groups column, delete the existing security groups and add the CP EFS security group. Click Save. Good job. Now your file system is ready to be mounted to the Amazon EC2 instance and on-premises instances as well. In the next task, we are going to launch the EC2 instance and mount the file system. So in this task, you use the launch wizard to launch an Amazon EC2 instance and then mount the file system to the EC2 instance. Navigate to the Amazon EC2 console page and choose the launch instance. Enter a name for this. I'll just leave AMI and instance type as it is. And I'll continue creating without key pair. On the network settings, click Edit. Select one of the subnet of your choice. For the security group, choose the existing security group and then choose CP EC2 SG security group. Leave others as default. In Configure Storage, click Edit next to Zero Cross File Systems. For file systems, choose Add File System and select the file system which was created in Task 2. The path should next to the file system ID is the location at which the file system will be mounted on the EC2 instance. You can customize this path, but for this tutorial, keep the default value. Note that after you select the file system ID, the user data field is automatically populated with the configuration script that automates all manual tasks such as installing the file system client, installing the EFS mount helper, and updating the EC2 instance properties so that the file system mounts automatically upon instance reboot. I am leaving all other settings as the default values. Review the EC2 instance details once again and choose Launch Instance. On the Launch Status page, choose View Instances to open the Instances dashboard. On the Instances dashboard, you will see the new EC2 instance is created and running. So, good job. You have successfully created EC2 instance and then mounted the EFS to that. In the next task, we are going to verify EFS file system whether it is mounted or not. So in this task, you connect to your Amazon EC2 instance and verify that the Amazon EFS file system is mounted. So select our newly created EC2 instance and then click on Connect. In the Connect to your EC2 instance dialog box, choose EC2 Instance Connect, which is a browser-based SSH connection, and then choose Connect. In the EC2 Instance CLI, type command df-t-h. You can see that the EFS file system is mounted at mnt/efs/fs1, which is the same default path as mentioned in task 3. Good job! This verifies that your file system is successfully mounted on the EC2 instance. In the next task, we are going to clean up all the resources that are created in this lab. So it is best practice to delete instances and resources that you are no longer using so that you are not continually charged for them. So to terminate EC2 instance, go to Instance List console page, select the instance you created for this lab. In the instance state, click Terminate. Choose as Terminate when prompted for confirmation. This process can take several seconds to complete. Once your instance has been terminated, the instance state will change to Terminated on EC2 console. To delete EFS file system, in the EFS console page, select the file system that you created for this lab. Choose Delete. In the Delete File System dialog box, enter the file system ID and then confirm to delete. Congratulations, you have created and mounted an Amazon EFS file system to an Amazon EC2 instance using the EC2 Launch Instance wizard. I hope we had a great session today, and I'll see you again in my next lab. Until then, keep learning and have fun.